All right, peeps. So this is going to be what I consider to be the final form and ultimately the entire point of really the PSA Dagger lineup, or at least from my experience with the Micro C1. So it seems like, especially after my first impression video or my first look video, that something wasn't properly gelling with the complete PSA firearm. And I think at least when it comes to the Micro Dagger, it's because at least most of the reviews that I see or looked into was primarily focused on the separate slide or the frame, especially with the slide. So I really think that in that development process, they were so focused on the design revolving around the Glock 43 that the separate parts, primarily speaking, the slide and the frame, were so focused on fitting existing G43 models that once you put them together, those two from PSA together really don't marry well, or as well as they would with their G43 counterparts. Case in point, my PSA Dagger Micro, I took the frame and the slide, just divorced the half, and basically mix and matched it with my G43. So I say that so I could bring up the concerns that I initially reviewed from the complete firearm before. So let me go ahead and show clear here. One more sec. So no magazine, no rounds in the room with me. Okay. So what we got here, I'll show it this way so you can see the upper plainly. The G43 upper, or the G43 slide, on the PSA Dagger Micro frame. And at least what I found so far was that not only is the slide very smooth, or no real hiccups, at least as far as feel goes, but I'll even say that even the trigger, and go ahead and take a look there. So, like I mentioned before, the pull is fine, right? To the brake. But even the reset, I was saying I was having issues before between hearing an audible click and not reaching the reset wall. So, look what we have here. Didn't really get that same issue like I was experiencing, much more so. So let's try it again. Let's break. And somehow it feels like it's acting smoother in this application with the slide and the frame with my G43 slide, with my Glock slide. So this is where I'm theorizing here that this is what it was meant to be, and not so much the firearm itself as a complete package, which is kind of interesting to me because that's how I purchased it. That wasn't necessarily how I thought I would run it. I actually thought I would end up doing this anyway, but messing around with it in the stock configuration made me just go to this route that much faster. So let me show you what it's like for the opposite, which is the G43 frame with the Micro Dagger C1 slide. So again, let's do the same thing that we did before. Again, no magazine. Again, no rounds. It's empty. So, okay. So at least what we have over here. So let me show you first how it looks. So this one looks more funky. Not gonna lie. It doesn't look like me. It meshes as well together as this one does, but that's okay. So, but what we have is what we have. You could leave your own comments, but again, like I was mentioning before, so the slide doesn't feel as smooth as the other, but still really good. No real issues. And that might be due to the dagger slide still needed to be broken in, but as it is, feels fine. Trigger. So again, this is the stock Glock trigger. No changes here, so predictable as usual. But even when I activate the slide on this application, it feels even smoother. It even sounds smoother than my G43 in its original configuration, which that slide has always sounded gritty. So again, or at least not sound gritty, but feels as gritty as it sounds is probably the better way I should put it. But this one feels better. Sounds similar, feels better. And I think ultimately, this is why I'm going to stick with these two in their new configurations now mixed up with the G43, is that I think that's what that application was meant to do from the beginning, but PSA just selling it as a complete firearm. And for the ones that I've seen as their complete firearm for reviews has been a little more hit and miss, a little more finicky with issues, especially surrounding the trigger. So I think that going with what the original intention was for that Glock compatibility is what really makes the dagger shine. And really, that might be a more beneficial experience than experiencing the complete firearm in its original complete package, at least the way that it comes from PSA. So again, that's just my experience, how I feel. It's subjective, really, but hopefully that you could tell from the firearm, at least manipulation on my end, and come to your own conclusion. All right, guys, thanks for your time.